That is a huge ass fucking planter.
All my friends are heathens, take it slow.
What's going on, guys? It's the big scary guy here. Obviously you can probably tell that the audio is a little bit different, so I'm going to be doing things a little bit different in this video, mostly because I don't have an external microphone that's worth a damn for my camera, and when I was trying to film this video, the audio just was trash. I guess the seal that used to prevent the camera from rattling in the case no longer prevents that rattle, and it's so bad that there's no way that I could actually fix that. I just don't have the skill level for that. So rather than doing that, I decided I was going to do I kind of figured I was going to do a time-lapse video anyways. But I decided I was going to do a time-lapse video, and I was just going to do a narrative effect. So this is going to be kind of my effort to do that. So while you're watching me do these pointless things that you don't even understand why I'm doing, I'm going to go ahead and explain why all of this is going on. So about a month and a half ago, I damaged the Impreza. I was driving a little fast, and I saw something that told me I should slow down, and I decided I was going to downshift rather than brake. But instead of going from 6th gear into 4th gear, the shifter moved over a little bit too much. That is to say, I shifted a little too far to the left and didn't go into 4th gear. I went into 2nd gear. And I realized it was 2nd gear and knew that I needed to get it out of 2nd gear, so I made the attempt to get it out of 2nd gear. But when you drive a manual transmission for a while, you kind of get into this automatic process of handling shifts, and eventually it gets to the point where you don't even really think about it. So when you start to think, your thinking is actually slower than your body, and you notice this in all sorts of things. When you're playing sports, contact sports, martial arts, things like that, you kind of get a feel for the fact that your body is moving much faster than you're actually thinking. You're reacting on instinct, muscle memory, and that's kind of what happened here, although that's mostly an excuse. That's a skill level thing. I made a mistake, and it was a very big mistake. It was a very pricey mistake, and I'm paying for it, or I already paid for it. So I had to have the car towed, which that was annoying. That was expensive. I hate watching a tow truck show up and then them load the car, and there's always that concern of like, is this tow truck going to be the tow truck that totally screws everything up? Because tow truck drivers, they try to do a decent job, but some of them just didn't receive a whole lot of training. Some of them tried to go at their own. Some of them just got the bright idea that they're going to make a bunch of money towing cars, and they never really got any training. And sometimes it doesn't work out so well. So I never like seeing a tow truck show up. The other thing is I always hate being out of control of my vehicle, and having a tow truck grab the car, it's always a horrible feeling. It's very nerve-wracking. So that kind of sucked. But the bigger thing that sucked is I didn't know exactly what had happened. So when I downshifted, when the clutch came out, all I heard was a loud pop or thump, and I knew it was over. I didn't fight it. I didn't try to. The car just stalled and died. Which that's kind of what it does anyways, since it doesn't have a baseline tune. It doesn't really like idling that much. And so if you just clutch in on the car and you're not helping the engine run, it will just immediately stall and die. and sometimes if the car hasn't warmed up very well, it'll idle for a few seconds or for a couple of minutes until you start to give it gas and run around a little bit, and then it just, when you come to a stop and you press that clutch in, it just dies. It just falls out of the air, and I'm assuming that some of that is going to be resolved with a baseline tune on a dyno, but I have not been on a dyno yet, so that's my fault. But anyways, so a lot of work going on. None of it's very awesome. I'm pulling a drive shaft right now, but I didn't know what was going on. I didn't, like I said, I didn't fight it. I didn't try to roll start the car. I was on the interstate, so it would have been very easy for me to make that attempt. But when I heard that thump, I didn't know if that was the engine blowing. I could have thrown a rod from excessive revs. I didn't know if that was the transmission blowing. I didn't know what was going on. And so rather than fighting it, I kept the clutch in. I put the car in neutral, and I just rolled over. I just coasted off to the side of the interstate. Luckily, I didn't have any difficulties getting off the side of the interstate, even though the traffic was somewhat decent at the time. There weren't any issues getting over in traffic. So that was good, because that's another nerve-wracking experience. But like I said, the big part that sucks is not knowing what's going on or what's happening to the vehicle. And that's kind of where I was when I was on the side of the road when I had the tow truck driver pick up the car. Now, keep in mind, this is like the end of March, and we've gone all of April, and now we're halfway through May, or a little over halfway through May, and now I'm finally looking at the car. So that's what I was doing this last weekend. And so I got into the car, and it took I don't know, 2 minutes for me to take the intake off. When I finally decided that I was going to go after the car this weekend, I knew I was going to have to pull the transmission. Didn't know what I was going to find. I didn't know if I was going to find everything in the transmission was good and that I had blown the engine. I mean, when the car went off the side of the road, I did look to see if maybe I had lost. Oh yeah, my jack stand isn't set. That was funny. Earlier in the video, if you were watching, you could have noticed that the car wasn't sitting on that jack stand very well, and I didn't notice it. That was when I was trying to get the exhaust off. I didn't notice it at that time, but when I bumped into it and the jack stand moved, I went, oh, yay. And so that was fun. But not knowing, when I pulled off to the side of the road, I didn't know what I was going to find. I didn't know if I was going to find, that I'd thrown a rod. I didn't know if I was going to find the casing for the transmission fragged, but I didn't see anything when I was off on the side of the road, and that doesn't mean anything, but it was a good sign at that time. So when I got a chance to look at it this weekend, I didn't know, like I said, didn't know what I was going to find because I couldn't see anything on the outside. So knew I was going to have to pull the transmission. I thought I might have to pull the engine. In retrospect, I probably should have just pulled the engine. It's so easy to pull the engine on these cars that it almost just doesn't make sense. But I hate it. I hate like the extra work that goes into pulling the engines. But getting the transmission out from underneath the car is such a huge pain in the ass, and you're going to see that when I do take it out of the car. It's just so much easier to pull the engine and the transmission out, but especially since I don't have a lift. I bought the 2 jack stands that are up at the front that you can see right now. I bought these just for this project. And I bought the transmission jack just for this project because it was so annoying having to deal with this transmission. It's so heavy and it's very tall. And so I thought, well, okay, I'll just get some really high lift jack stands. I'll be able to run my jack up all the way, and hopefully that'll create enough clearance for me to lift the car up, and I won't have any issues getting the transmission out from underneath the car. As you'll see here in a bit, I was wrong. I still had issues getting the transmission out from underneath the car, and it made a very big mess. And I was very disappointed with that. But I'm still kind of playing around with that. I'm not entirely sure if I want to buy another jack and maybe get a higher lifting jack, although that's going to be kind of hard to find. The jack that I have does lift the car a very decent amount, and considering leverage angle, I can actually pick the car up a fairly good amount. So I don't know if getting another jack is going to be feasible, but damn it. Sorry, that was my phone notification, and everybody tells me that it scares the shit out of them when it goes off, but to me it's just funny. Comment below if you know where that sound came from. But anyways, and don't say my phone, because yeah, obviously it came from my phone. I probably should have muted that before I started recording, but I didn't. So anyways, I took the intake off of the engine when I went to go look at the car on Friday, and right away I found a piece of clutch material. Now I've got pictures at the end of the video, and you'll be able to see what the clutch looks like now, but it turns out, and I was able to figure this out just by taking the intake off, there was just enough room for me to see into the bell housing, that I knew exactly what had gone wrong. The clutch had exploded, and I definitely mean the word exploded. There were pieces everywhere. There was the largest piece of the friction plate for the clutch, was I think 2 inches. And that's just the friction pad. It's not actually the center support for the clutch. It's not the sprung. It's not the spring pack or any of that. The spring pack survived. That's in metal shim material, and it's fairly well built up. That part survived, but the friction pad material, that was gone. There was none of that left. I found 2 large pieces of that, and then the rest of it was just dust. Again, there's going to be pictures at the end of the video. You can fast forward if you don't want to listen to me talk, which I totally understand. I don't like listening to me talk, so I get it. But otherwise, the flywheel is trash. There's scorch marks all over it from the pressure plate rubbing against it. Even in neutral, I mean, there's no way to stop the pressure plate and the flywheel from just burning each other up. That's what the clutch is meant to do. The clutch is meant to prevent that metal on metal grinding that you would get if you didn't have the clutch material there. And when I shattered the clutch, I put shim stock in between metal, and that just that did some very bad things. Again, pictures are at the end of the video. You'll see them here in a minute if you stick around, or you can fast forward. Go for it. It's cool. So I went ahead and I ordered a new clutch, and I told myself I was going to put a picture in this video, and then I forgot. I got busy trying to get the video together and get everything set up, and unfortunately, fortunately for me, it was an improvement. But I got a solid state drive for my computer, and I had to reinstall Windows, and I lost my installation of Adobe Premiere. So I had to get Adobe Premiere again, get that installed on the computer, and then I could start working on the clips. But none of that really happened in an organized fashion. Plus, when I got home today, I just wanted to take a nap because I was exhausted. And so, yeah, I wasn't very efficient in getting this project done, which is why it's 4 in the morning and I'm not done. I'm still recording, which is not good. I have to go to work tonight. Oh well. So, anyways, this was a very interesting project. So I ordered a new clutch. I got a new clutch, flywheel, combo kit thing. So that's on its way. And then I'm sure you've also noticed in some of the images of the car, there's no headlights or front bumper assembly on the car. So the front bumper assembly or the front bumper cover is fine, the grille cover is fine, but the yellow headlight on the car was finally annoying me to the point where I was like, fine, I'm gonna clean the headlight up. I'm gonna take care of that while I'm doing this other stuff. That was something that I was going to do on Friday once I figured out what was wrong with the car. I went ahead and ordered the clutch kit, and I was like, all right, now I'm going to clean up the headlights. And the driver's side headlight was so yellow, and I went to go clean it up, and it just wasn't coming clean. There are two cracks, and oh, end of day one. Yay! Yeah, there's a good shot right there. You can see that there is no front assembly. Both the headlights are gone, and sad day. So the driver's side headlight actually has two cracks. It looks like two rocks jumped up and attacked the headlight. Those bullies. But with that headlight cracked, the yellowing was actually occurring on the inside of the headlight housing. So it didn't matter how much I sanded down the exterior. It wasn't coming out. And I said, you know what? Screw it. And I spent the money and I ordered some new headlights for the car, which is something I wanted to do anyways because I was nervous about the headlight restoration kits, but I used them on the other car, which you'll also see in a bit. It's also at the end of the video. I bought another car, and if you follow my Instagram channel, you'll actually have already seen some pictures of the other car. And because I'm stupid and I can't help myself, I've already started working on the other car, and that's what probably would have tipped you off if you follow the Instagram. But or you could be some of the people that are in the know, or maybe there's another image somewhere that I haven't really paid attention to. Oh, cool! The moment of truth, yay! Keep in mind, up until this point, it was just a guess. I was pretty damn sure. My guess was pretty solid, but up until this point, I didn't actually know, and there's no clutch there. It's fragmented. So the flywheel's coming off too. Guys, if you guys haven't seen the progress bar, we're almost to the end of the video, and I'm going to shut up here soon. You guys should be excited. You'll also get to see the damage and the destruction, but it was total. It was bad. Most important part of that build right there is that little gear that I took out. If that gets damaged, broken, dented, deformed, this car won't run ever again, or at least not with that engine. That cog is what sets timing for the computer, and if it's broken, it be dead. So yeah, there's the clutch. So you can totally see the clutch is destroyed. I've got some side-by-side pictures. Like I said, the center spring pack was all that was pretty much left intact, and it's garbage. It's dead. So new one's on its way. I'm gonna shut up now, and you guys have a nice one. I will see you guys later.
Please don't make it